Keeping track of which style rules affect a particular part of a web page is important, both to save time and to maintain your sanity. In this video I'll show you two very different tools designed to do just that, the CSS Styles panel and the Code Navigator. As you can see from the Related Files toolbar, there are 5 style sheets attached to this page that control the way the page is rendered in different devices, so this presents a particular challenge. We're going to look first at the CSS Styles panel, which normally lives here on the right amongst the panels. If you can't see it, go to the Window menu and select CSS Styles. That opens the panel for you. On Windows, the keyboard shortcut is Shift F11, but unfortunately for Mac users, there is no shortcut because of a conflict with Expose. The panel's quite complicated, so it's a good idea to maximize the space in which you can see it. I'm just going to close the Files panel here, and then expand this panel here, and then expand the top part of the panel to give me a little bit more room. There are 2 buttons at the top of the CSS Styles panel, All and Current. In All mode, you're presented with a tree view of style rules and each style sheet that's attached to the page. If you select a rule, its properties are shown in the Properties pane at the bottom of the panel. If your Properties pane looks different, it means you have a different view selected in the 3 icons at the bottom left of the pane. This first icon shows Category View, which organizes properties according to category. We've got font, background, block, border, box, etc. The second icon shows List View. What this does is it displays properties in the current rule at the top of the list, but all other properties are in alphabetical order. The third icon displays only properties that have been set in the current rule, and this I think is probably the easiest way in which to use the Properties pane. And if you select different rules, you see the different properties that have been set in each one. It's important to note that the properties are listed here in alphabetical order. They're not in the same order that you will see them in the style sheet. However, the rules in the tree menu here, they are in the same order that they are in the style sheet. To add a property to a particular rule, just click the Add Property link here. It opens a menu where you can select any of the CSS properties. I'm going to select Text Decoration, and then on the right-hand side click again and open a menu of the available values. I'm going to select Line Through, and as you can see, it's put a line through the heading at the top of the page. A useful feature of the Properties pane is the ability to temporarily disable a particular style rule. If you hover your cursor over the left side of the property, you'll see that there's a little icon which says Disable CSS Property. Click that and it disables it. Now if you right-click and select Go to Code, Dreamweaver opens the style sheet in split view and puts your cursor immediately at the location of the selected property. As you can see, this has been marked as being disabled. So if I want to re-enable it, all I need to do is to go back and click again. You can see it has now been re-enabled. I don't want a line through my heading, so I'm going to disable it again, and then right-click, and I can select from the context menu either Enable All Disabled in Selected Rule or Delete All Disabled in Selected Rule. Well, I want to delete this one, so I'll just choose that. The icons down at the bottom right of the CSS Styles panel allow you to attach a style sheet, create a new CSS rule, edit an existing rule, or use this trash can icon here to delete a CSS rule. If you want to change the order of your style rules, you can do so through the CSS Styles panel by selecting a rule and just dragging and dropping it within the CSS Styles panel. I'm going to drop it here above the body, and you can see that it's been moved inside the style sheet and is now above the body rule. Selecting Current Mode by clicking this button at the top of the CSS Styles panel presents a very different view of your styles. The panel is divided into 3. What you see in the middle section depends on the icon selected on the right here. If the left icon is selected, the middle panel tells you where the currently selected property is defined. Now you can see that it says that no property is currently selected. So let's just put the cursor somewhere in Design View. It now shows me that padding right is defined in the rule Hero H2 in Tablet CSS. So this is a very powerful way of finding out where a particular style rule is being defined. Selecting the icon on the right displays the full cascade of rules for the current selection. Again, this is another extremely useful way of analysing your rules. At the top here you have a summary for the current selection, then you have the cascade in the middle and the properties that have been set in the Properties pane at the bottom. Changing the position of the cursor or the selection in Design View changes what you see in the CSS Styles panel, giving you a very detailed view of the styles wherever you are in your web page. Notice this icon that looks like a sailing ship's wheel. It pops up automatically whenever there's no activity in Design View. It's the Code Navigator. Click it to see another representation of the styles affecting the current part of the page. Hover over the rules to see a tooltip with the details of the properties. The selector names are actually links, so if you click one of them, it'll take you directly to the code in the relevant style sheet. As you can see, we've now moved directly to the nav rule here in split view. A problem with the Code Navigator is that the ship's wheel icon is likely to drive you mad after a while. You can disable it by selecting this checkbox here. To activate the Code Navigator again, Alt-click in Windows or Option-Command-click in a Mac. The Code Navigator is useful for quick fixes to style sheets. The CSS Styles panel in current mode is the more powerful tool, but it does take time to learn how to use it. Once you understand the wealth of information that it provides, you'll wonder how you ever did without it.